Hi friends and readers! Have you ever listened to a song and thought, wow, that would make such a good book? Or, wow, I've read this in a book before. And if you have, this is the perfect video for you. I've picked 10 songs and 10 books and paired them with artists like Taylor Swift, Gracie Abrams, Olivia Rodrigo, to what feels like to me the right vibes, the right mood, just the right story. The great thing about this is basically a 10 book recommendation from me to you. All of these books are a 4 or higher star rating for me, so a 4 or a 5 star. Let's get into the top 10 books I would recommend based off of a song. If you like the song Until I Found You by Stephen Sanchez, then I recommend you read Beach Read by Emily Henry. There was no way I was going to do this video without recommending an Emily Henry read, especially Beach Read. If you can't tell, I love Beach Read. This is probably my all-time favorite book ever. I get all the little copies that I can get. It's the only book that I have duplicate copies of because it's my favorite book ever. This copy is I believe just UK. I don't know if it looks different in other parts of the world, but I picked this up while I had a trip to London this past year, and so it's a special copy for me. Beach Read is about 2 authors living on a beach as neighbors, so right next to each other. One author, the female main character January, writes romance books, and the other author is Augustus, other known as Gus, writes dark literary fiction, or just literary fiction. Over the summer, they challenge each other to write in the opposites genre. So Gus is going to write a romance book and January is going to write literary fiction. They're trying to write this novel before the summer is over. I chose the song Until I Found You by Stephen Sanchez. The song's nostalgic and romantic vibe pairs well with the slow burn and the discovery in Beach Read. All about finding something new when you least expect it. So pick that book up if you get anything from this video. Of all the songs we're gonna go through today and all the books we're going to go through today, this song was the easiest to pick because it is such a direct correlation of this book. So if you like the song Paper Rings by Taylor Swift, then you need to read The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. X-Files follows Georgia and Eli, who are exes. They haven't talked for 5 years, but their best friend is getting married, and a ton of terrible things keeps happening in the week or the few days before the wedding. And so they are close proximity as they solve these problems and hope that the wedding will go off without a hitch. So what's it like when you see your ex after 5 years and he's completely changed? I won't say exactly why I picked Paper Rings. If you read the story, you'll know exactly why. Let's just say it's playful, quirky, and Paper Rings matches exactly what you would want to do if you read this book. Number 3 on the list, if you like the song Can't Catch Me Now by Olivia Rodrigo, then you should read Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. Now I know, Can't Catch Me Now belongs to the Hunger Games, but I still think if you like the song, it fits well with Dance of Thieves. Dance of Thieves is a cat and mouse chase between Kazi, a legendary street thief, and Jace, the new leader of the Ballinger Empire. Kazi is sent by her queen to Jace's land to investigate some transgressions that are happening, and she finds herself dancing with trouble, hence Dance of Thieves. This pairs well with Can't Catch Me Now because of the chase, the energy, the mystery, and the swirling around these 2 characters in Dance of Thieves. For book number 4 and song number 4, if you like the song I Miss You, I'm Sorry by Gracie Abrams, then you should read Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. And maybe you know this, but I didn't. Christina Lauren is 2 authors, not 1. If you know anything about this book, just know Love and Other Words was one of the first books I read as I got back into reading, and it was also my first book by Christina Lauren. Heartbreaking. This is a then and now story between Macy and Elliot. They were childhood friends turned adult strangers. At a chance reunion between the 2, we unpack what has been keeping them silent from one another over the past 10 years when they were best friends, book buddies, just gal pals, and now they don't talk to each other. I Miss You, I'm Sorry is very soft, introspective, tender, and I think it pairs well with the ache and the regret that we read about in Love and Other Words. I haven't read that book in a few years, but I remember it just being one of the first books to make me cry, so I should do a reread this year. Number 5 on our list, if you like the song Spring into Summer by Lizzie McAlpine, this song needs to be injected into my veins. No matter what, this is quickly one of my favorite songs ever, and I know it's a newer-ish release. Absolutely love the song. And if you love this song, then you should read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Just for the Summer follows Justin. Justin has found that every time he dates a woman, she breaks up with him and then goes on to find the love of her life and get married. So he puts a post on Reddit to explain that this happens to him, and he finds Emma, who says this exact thing happens to her. Every time a boy breaks up with her, he goes on to find the love of his life. So they're thinking, we should pair up, and if we break up with each other, then we'll find the loves of our lives. So it's going to be a quick summer fling, and they're gonna trick fate into happening for them. So Emma books a travel nursing gig where Justin lives in hopes that she's gonna be in and out of there in 30 to 90 days, or so she thinks. Quite literally, the songs Spring into Summer and Just for the Summer, both the book and the song are light and breezy about finding new beginnings. Next up, if you like the song Lovesick by Laufey, then you should read The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This story follows Clementine, also known as Lemon. She is up in her aunt's old apartment, and while she's there, she runs into a man. He's staying there out of happenstance, and seemingly she starts to fall for this man in her aunt's apartment, but she discovers he lives 7 years in the past. This story is a matter of timing and magical realism that takes you through a story of love and grief. The gentle, jazzy tune of Lovesick by Laufey really captures the longing and the delicate hope in this story's journey. If you like a book with magical realism, then I think that this is a book for you. Next up, if you like the song We Fell in Love in October by Girl in Red, then you should read Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. Like I said earlier, these are 4 or 5-star reads for me, so I have a physical copy for most of them. This is the first book on our list that we don't have a physical copy of, and that's because this book caught me by surprise. I read this on my Kindle, so I had a digital copy. Maybe one day I'll pick up a physical copy because I loved this book. This story follows Wen, who goes and hangs out with one of her best friends at a party where she meets Bo. This party changes their lives forever, if you know what I mean. After the party, Bo steps up to the plate, but Wen is an independent girly, so it can be hard and she struggles with accepting help from others. So we follow a timeline of Bo and Wen getting to know each other and helping each other out. I picked We Fell in Love in October particularly because of the beginning of this book. When you read the scene of our 2 main characters meeting each other, you'll know what I mean. I think the vibes of We Fell in Love in October are very dreamy, nostalgic, and they match those sweet beginnings we get to read in Out on a Limb. This is one of the songs where I get really excited. If you like the song Favorite Crime by Olivia Rodrigo, then you should read Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Powerless by Lauren Roberts was when I first discovered tabbing in a physical book. As you can tell, there's not really that many tabs, but a girl thought she was doing something historical here. For this story, we are in a kingdom called Ilya. We follow 2 main characters, Kai. Kai is an elite who has strong powers, and he is called the Enforcer. And then we follow Payton. Payton is an ordinary. She does not have powers, and the kingdom of Ilya went through a plague where they wanted to make their elites more powerful, so they decided that they would get rid of all of the ordinaries. And Kai's role as the Enforcer is so fate rolls the dice, and our male or female main character Payton ends up in the kingdom's purging trials, where she has to compete as an ordinary against all of the elites, and they don't know that she's ordinary. So we discover if or when Kai will find out as the Enforcer that Payton does not have powers. If you read this story, Favorite Crime by Olivia Rodrigo is written all over it. The emotional intensity, the confessing tone, it fits perfect with the story of love and pain in Powerless. We are rounding out the list, only 2 more song and book recommendations to go. Up next, if you like the song The Man by Taylor Swift, Of course, I had to include the song and Taylor Swift more than once. Then you should read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Really, if you like the song The Man by Taylor Swift, then you could read any of Ali Hazelwood's STEM romances. I recommend all of them actually. Love Theoretically was just one of the ones that I had read more recently in the last year or so and gave it a 4 or 5 stars, I can't remember. Love Theoretically follows Elsie. She is a theoretical physicist and she works as an adjunct professor. But to make some extra cash on the side, she gives services to an app where she pretends to be someone's fake partner, so fake girlfriend, so that they can go to family functions or parties and have a companion. It's a very lighthearted gig and she does a good job of separating her professor life and her fake dating life until her favorite fake dating partner brings her to a family function where Jack shows up and he's the older brother of the guy she's fake dating. Why does this matter? Well, Jack is on the hiring committee for a job that she really wants at MIT. This pairs perfectly with The Man by Taylor Swift because this is a novel about a woman in the STEM field up against men. Both the song and the book have a feminist edge and sharp commentary. The song describes Elsie's struggle with being a woman in a male-dominated field. Plus, The Man is such a good song. You should listen and you should read. For our 10th and final song recommendation, if you like the song Nothing New by Taylor Swift featuring Phoebe Bridgers, of course, another Taylor Swift song, had to end it on a bang, and you should read The Wedding People by Alison Espach, ? I forgot to mention, for this book in particular and some of the other books, be sure to read any trigger warnings as there can be some hard topics about grief and dealing with depression in some of the stories. The Wedding People follows Phoebe. Phoebe goes to an inn in Rhode Island. Phoebe actually goes to this inn to splurge on herself one last time with this fancy hotel or fancy room before she is going to take her own life. However, on the way up to her room, Phoebe runs into the bride of the week. The bride of the week seemingly thought that she booked the entire inn for just the wedding people. So she's wondering why Phoebe is even there. And because of this, both of their weeks are rerouted. Both this story and Nothing New by Taylor Swift with Phoebe Bridgers are very reflective. They're melancholic and they have a lot of layers to them. I think both the song and the book have a lot of deep emotional exploration. The Wedding People was also a book that caught me by surprise and ended up being a 5-star. It is a very heavy book, so make sure you come into it with a good mindset. You've made it to the end of my 10 song to book recommendations. Let me know in the comments which one of these you totally agree with, or maybe you have a better song to pair with that book. And finally, I would love a recommendation from you with a song title for a book that I should go and read. That's it for today's video. Bye for now.